everyone, it's Lizzie Jean from Lizzie Jean's Artistic Chaos, or you can call me Jean, which a lot of people do. Today I promised to come back and show you what I do with some of the playing cards that I have. So some of the ones that I displayed in the video, I backed with some brown cardstock. These are just some novelty cards that I have. And I added an applique and some lace and some book paper there, and I sewed it on. This one I also backed. I made a lace pocket with this one because the inside is so pretty. So you can stick this little postcard in, and there's a cute little heart paper clip to go with it. And on the back, you have a place to write if you like. I usually, when I sew, I leave these little straggles because I think that one's a little long, but I think they look cute on the cards, just for a little shabby or rustic look. This one I also backed, but I put a piece of tea-dyed paper and I actually stapled the card. This is just a piece of a printable with some fabric, frayed fabric, and I like using the stapler as kind of a design point. So you will sometimes see the staples in the ones that I make or other art projects that I make. This one I made yesterday. I cut the flower motif from some fabric, did some ruching here, and this is just a ball of threads. I always keep those because they make cute little accents. And then of course over here, and we have a post earring, which is another thing that I keep access to when I have just single earrings, so that I can add them to my projects. I just basically punch a tiny little hole and I clip as much of the post off as I can, and then I set it down in that hole, so that keeps it more flush. This one I actually made a tag out of. It has some pretty lace and trim and a butterfly and some millinery flowers. It's sewn and it has a tag topper. This one is just a piece from a herb book, and I sewed it on with lace underneath. It's just very simple. And I did this one this morning. I like this black lace. I cut a square part out and put a piece of vellum in, and then I put this girl on top, so I love that one. And this is one that I started, and I put the lace on it, and I just glued it down in different places because I'll probably go back with my sewing machine and add more things to it. But the idea for this one was just to have that lace kind of as a backdrop. And I like these guys. So I'm gonna put them on. They did get a little bit of glue on them, so I'll have to see how I can cover that up. So let me just glue these guys on here. Make sure I get all the feet. And we can just set them right here. And I'm gonna put I think an old button right here. Now this is an old button that is actually leather. So let me find the end of my string over here, and the holes should be big enough that I can just stick this through. I don't really like applying buttons to my projects without them having their strings, so I'll put some kind of string in here usually just to go with the button. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. I just like to have some string, and I'm gonna try to push these back through so that I can tie it in a little bow. This is a very deteriorated button, so, but I think it'll look cool on here, kind of as a, I don't usually throw buttons away unless they are really, you know, really not usable, but this one I think we can still use even though it's broken. So I'm just going to tie a knot here because these are gentlemen. I'm not going to make a bow, and I'm just going to put it right here where this little glue spot is, and that should take here in a minute. My boys will be all ready. I'm going to take my clothespin, and you can use all kinds of things, clothespins. I have little sewing clips, whatever you need to use to keep your piece together while it's gluing. So let me show you. I don't want to use these cards. I want to use my other ones. Where did I lay them? I mean, it doesn't really matter which ones I use. They're pretty much covered up for the most part, but I was trying to use some of my older leftover ones. Here's one. Oh, here's another one that I made. I forgot this one. This one is one of my doodles, and this is just an old piece of quilting cotton. So that's another one I put together. And here are some of my other cards. I'm going to use this red heart one, and I'll show you how I decorate these. So I had this image here that I thought was really beautiful. So I'm going to go around the edge first with some brown. Give me a minute to get another foam here. I have a brown one. Let's see if this one will work. This is just, it's brush corduroy. It's one of the browns I like to use if I don't have my tea stain or something else. The brush corduroy works really nice. So I'm just going to go around the edge of that. I think that looks cool. I love how her eye looks to the side. I'm going to use a little bit of this dyed lace. This is just, this lace was from a dresser scarf, and it pretty much just fell apart. But, you know, you can't throw anything out. I can't. So I kept it, and I actually dyed it with some turmeric. So that makes a cool addition. I'm going to make this one into a tag. And I have a piece of this book page that I'll put down there behind it. One thing I like about the glitter glue is that it does dry relatively quickly. So this should be pretty much dry now. And that turned out good. I'm gonna go around the edge of this with some brown. I think it'll just bring out the piece a little bit more. And I love the idea of using a piece of raggedy paper behind the greeting or the card. And then using this blue is actually some blue watercolor. So your watercolors are also very helpful to use during when you're designing. So I feel like this needs either not that image or something else. Let me see what other images I have. I have a couple more of these women, and actually mushrooms look good. So they have some yellow in them. So we can put the mushrooms on. I'm wondering if I should put this lady on. She is a little bit big, so I'm going to trim her out just roughly. Okay. And where is my ink? We'll just ink this up on the edges to make it look even more vintage. This is an actual photo, so we'll put it on here. I wanted to trim it down some though, so we could still see the hearts. I think that looks pretty good. So let's just glue this down. The 8 of Hearts is one of my favorite cards. I don't know why. I like 8 and I like hearts, so I guess that's why. Let me clip that down because it doesn't want to stay over the fabric. And then I'm going to add this little mushroom. And as I'm sure you're aware, these little mushrooms and images. They're from Tim Holtz, if you are curious as to where the paper dolls come from. They're from his paper doll line. So there we have that one. And I just wanted you to see how quickly you can design these just with a little bit of paper strips, a little bit of fabric strips, whatever you have at your disposal. You do not have to make them be, super busy. I'm going to put choose to see the good stuff. And I'm going to put that on there. I think that looks good. Now, I know you all were, some of you were following me because I had been doing some ATCs. And I'm still doing them. Unfortunately, because of my husband's health and my health, I can't always do them daily, but I have several that I've made. This was the first page. So we finished all these finished up with these green ones. And this, it would be 9 times 2, which would be 18. So that took us through the 18th of June. Then I made several of these. I don't know if you've seen them all. This one is done with a playing card. This one I did a little bit of doodling on, and I used the staples. I hope you guys can see. They don't come out very easily once you get them in. This one is a doodle flower I made. These are some images from either Tim Holtz or some other papers that I have. And then on the back, this is one I did for a swap on PM Artist Studio. These are new. This young man, and I put a camera here. And then I did a couple snarky ones with these stickers. And the background are my gel prints. So these were fun. This one is done with the paper that the image came on, but the stamps, I added some of the stamping there. This is a doodle flower I made and added some things here on top of a gel print. Again, another snarky one. And here are 3 others that are along the snarky line. So that's 18 plus 18, which is 636. Actually, I can do math in my head a little bit. And then I have these. So this one, really cute. These are stickers. These are flowers I designed. Here's 2 other Tim Holtz ones. So I think what will happen is some of these will end up being additional ATCs to fill up my 100 ATCs. And we'll see if they will fit. The original ATC was designed on a playing card. So the only thing that you find is some playing cards are not true to size. So this one should fit. That one's pretty. I like that. This one should definitely fit. The ones that I put the backing on, they are more for like a journaling card to stick in a pocket of a journal, or stick in the pocket of This one may fit, let's see. Or to glue onto a journal page. If you just want a focal point, you can use them for that as well. Okay, so that one will fit. I don't think any of these will fit because they have the backing on them, but that's okay. They make really cool journaling cards. So we have those. I don't think these gentlemen will fit. No, they're gonna be too big. So there we have another 9, 10. So we have 46 so far, which that's amazing. There may be a couple more that I have sticking around that I just haven't pulled out. But so those are some things that you can do with your greeting cards. You can use up some of your fabric pieces. If you've been keeping snippets and strips, you can do that with pieces of lace you may have that you think's too small for something else. You can also use some of your tea-dyed papers. And I want to point out, I did some spattering, and this gold is actually one of the Gansai Tambi watercolors I have. So I don't know if I say that right. That's how I say it. But if you like the gold, and this one has some gold spattering on it, if you like that idea, definitely check out those watercolors, because they're so, the colors on them are so rich and beautiful that you can really create some amazing designs with those watercolors. And I'm not a watercolorist, so I don't really have a major opinion about it, but I will tell you that I like them for what I use them for. And I think you would too. If you would purchase a set, you would enjoy them also. So these are the, and I'm not sponsored by them, let me just stick that in there. So these are the ones that I have done as journaling cards. The others as ATCs, as you can see here in my packet. And I will continue to make more of them. I think they're so much fun. And I love working with little pieces of art. So my next step is to gesso some of these so that I can do a little bit of painting on them and doodling. So look for that video coming up. Not sure about doing a live tomorrow. Just check my channel and see. If I do, it'll be at 7 Eastern time tomorrow in the evening. But I appreciate you all hanging out with me today, and I hope you enjoyed this little video. Please stay safe and hydrated, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.